In terms of the light that strictly goes toward the front, you have marking lights, plow lights, and headlights, correct?
Correct.
When all of those lights are on, how bright is it in front of your truck?
Extremely bright, almost as if I had a spotlight.
And that's facing straight out?
Correct.
What about facing diagonally out front?
Again, as far as the lights will illuminate.
And then on either side, directly out to the side, how far can you see?
About 5-6 feet.
Once you got into that truck in those early morning hours, how far could you see in front of your truck?
As far as my eyes would let me see.
Is there a particular method that you use?
I start in the middle of the road and work to the right, angling the plow to the right.
Are you familiar with the term ring row right?
Yes.
Could you explain that to the jury, please?
Sure. Ring row to the right is the amount of snow that's coming off the plow, creating a row. We angle everything to the right so that it does not impede on traffic on the left.
How long does it take you to get to any part of Cedar Crest?
About 10 minutes.
How much of the lighting of your Franken truck was illuminated at that time?
All my lights were working.
Ed, your thoughts on day 27?
Well, Mr. Liccardi, did anybody tell you to say the word first responder in your opening monologue? Okay, yeah. I mean, again, just when I thought I couldn't dislike Brendan anymore, he just continues to raise that level. You know, in my life, I try not to hate anybody, you know, because hating is bad. And I believe in karma. I believe in Christianity. But he is really pushing me to my limits. I find nothing about this man socially and professionally acceptable. Let's just put it that way. Okay. That said, man, it's a sign of desperation. Let's just put it that way. What he does is a sign of desperation.
Is it fair to say that when you've recounted that night as far as times and what you saw, many times your memory has changed? Is that fair to say?
It has not.
You spoke to a private investigator on behalf of the defense shortly after that night?
Yes.
Was that the first time that you spoke to somebody about what you had seen or not seen?
Yes.
That is the first time?
Yes.
Inevitably, over time, you have given statements to at least 4 different people, correct?
Correct.
And you've testified in court under oath?
Correct.
During the pendency from that night until today, it's fair to say there are many times where you have been intimidated, isn't it?
No.
You've been threatened.
Nope.
You were aware, sir, that you were being threatened by an online blogger to expose you?
I was not.
You're saying as you sit here today, you have no awareness in the history of this case that you were being threatened by an online blogger?
I was not threatened by an online blogger.
Was the online blogger threatening or saying that he would expose you and tell personal things about you if you weren't helpful?
He was not threatening.
Let's remove the word threatening. Was the person communicating and making clear to you that if you didn't testify in a certain way, there would be some consequence to you? Any time from when you first spoke to the private investigator until today, were there communications made to you by an online blogger that there would be consequence for you if you didn't testify in a way that was acceptable to them?
No.
You listened, of course, didn't you, to podcasts that were about you?
I did not.
People told you about them.
Yes, they did.
When friends told you about them, you knew who that person was that was making those claims, correct?
Correct.
You were well aware of the person had a very strong and large social media presence.
I didn't know how large or what his presence were, but yes, I knew he had a blog.
Well, you know now because you follow that blogger now, don't you?
I do follow him, yes.
You pay for a subscription?
I do not.
Did you get one for free?
I did not.
And in following that blogger, you know full well the power that person has to get attention from the community to harass, correct?
Yes.
And so, during the pendency of this case, not only were you aware that you were being pressured to testify a certain way, you also knew there'd be consequences if you didn't. Isn't that true?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
The premise of that question is not accurate.
So he can answer it.
You knew there was pressure for you to testify a certain way in this case, didn't you?
I did not know I was being required to testify a certain way. I was also at the time dealing with the loss of my wife. I was not paying any attention to any social media.
Sorry for your loss, but you are aware during the pendency of this case that there has been pressure on you to testify in a certain way. Isn't that fair to say?
No.
Sir, you received a call from that blogger, didn't you?
I did.
And during that call, did you know the person was recording you?
I did not.
You later learned that the person recorded you.
I did not.
Do you know that your conversations were spread throughout the community online?
I was.
Sir, some of those communications or inquiries were claims that you would be exposed for personal matters if you didn't testify a certain way, weren't they?
No.
Inevitably, you've met this person, haven't you?
I've seen him. I haven't met him.
Have you ever spent time with him?
No, I have not.
Still a follower of that blog.
I am.
When you follow the blog, do you read anything or do you watch it?
No, I don't do much anything towards the blogger.
As you follow it, you can see there are oftentimes articles about you.
No.
Haven't you ever been encouraged to do the right thing?
No.
Haven't you ever been celebrated after you've testified in a way favorable for one
Yes.
or the other?
Yes.
And so when you were being celebrated, that certainly took off any pressure that would be consequence, didn't it? Objection.
Ask it differently.
When you were celebrated for testifying a certain way, did you find that to be encouraging? Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
I did find it to be encouraging.
Did
but
you-
I did not want it. I don't think I deserved it. All I was doing was my job and telling the truth.
And it's a sign of desperation. Let's just put it that way. What he does is a sign of desperation. He is feeling pressure that he is losing this case. And you mark my words, folks, when the other witnesses start to roll in, he is going to become more and more aggressive. And every time he does these things, he loses.
It's
Okay?
a bad look. It's a bad look for him.
Yeah,
Undoubtedly.
absolutely. I mean, if the jury's picking up on this, he loses. I believe they are picking up on it. In addition, you see the dichotomy between the defense witnesses and the prosecution's witnesses. I mean, it is night and day. It's not even close.
Correct.
No obfuscation, no word salads, no hesitation in answers. Very amicable, very friendly, matter of fact type of banter going back and forth with the questions and answers. Okay.
Right.
Did you enjoy the attention that you got?
I did not.
Did you pose in photographs with people who support one side or the other?
I did.
And when you were in those photographs, are you saying that you didn't enjoy the attention that you were receiving?
I did not. Again, I was trying to be polite and trying to avoid any confrontation that may come from something if I said no.
Well, did anybody from the district attorney's office ever suggest they would confront you or punish you if you didn't testify a certain way?
No.
How many friends contacted you about what was being said before you testified, the pressure? How many people told you about that?
I couldn't tell you. All my friends were telling me.
So you were hearing a lot of noise or information from your friend group and community about what was being said about you.
Yes.
And this was before you testified at the first trial, sir.
This was before. That is the Albert house, Brian Albert's.
And when you were passing the Albert home on Fairview, the very first time you passed it, would it have been on your right or your left?
It would have been on my right.
What section of the road were you plowing at that point?
The middle of the road.
Why is that?
I start in the middle and I angle right with the plow.
When you were perpendicular to the driveway, where were your headlights pointed?
In front of the truck.
I'm sorry?
In front of the truck.
And what were you able to see of the front lawn of the Albert residence that very first time you passed?
I was able to see the entire front lawn.
Now, as you continued along past the driveway, did you continue to have all of those headlights on in front of you?
Yes.
And as you continued along, what were you able to see of that front lawn? How much of it?
A very large portion, almost to the front steps.
Sir, you work hard, don't you?
I do.
You work many different jobs.
I do.
You try to be a good citizen.
I do.
You are not looking for attention.
I am not.
It was brought to you.
It was brought to me.
You wish you never had that attention, don't you?
Yes.
Because you just want to live your life the way you want to live it rather than have people you don't know attacking, criticizing, or intimidating you.
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Could you repeat that, please?
Would it be fair to say that you simply want to live your life the way you've been living it without outside people attacking or pressuring or threatening you?
Yes.
I felt bad for Brian Lucky Laughlin because here he is, a lifetime Canton resident, born and raised in Canton. He went to Canton High School, graduated in 1990. He spent 6 years delivering for the Alberts, right? Chris Albert owns that pizza shop. This guy, in my opinion, is one of the good guys. Although there's that controversy with Turtle Boy of him, Hank Brennan was suggesting that he was threatening him, which is hogwash, but he seems like a guy that doesn't really have a bad bone in his body, and he lost his wife. And this is what made the day so atrocious to me. It was just, it made me outraged. I was at work and I was really angry with Hank Brennan. When I thought that he couldn't do something more vile, he just dismissed that Lucky lost his life, his wife's life, during the course of all of this unfolding, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry you lost your wife, but
yeah. I mean, what a sickening man.
At trial last year, do you remember saying it was 5:30?
I did.
And today you had said about 6:15.
Yes.
You weren't timing anything on a watch for times, were you?
I was not.
You were not accounting in any way for time whatsoever when you were out that night, were you?
No, I was not.
When you're providing times, are you trying to use your best memory?
Yes.
Do you recognize that you have a differing memory on times of what you did that night?
No.
You talked about your view from the tow truck and that you have a bunch of lights on it. On the tow truck, you had mentioned that your vision to the side was 5 to 6 feet.
Can you rephrase that, please?
Yes, of course. You said when you were driving your tow truck, you could see forward and sideways.
Okay. I don't want to be... I don't drive a tow truck.
My apologies. My apologies. A snowplow.
Thank you.
You said you can see forward and sideways.
I can see forward, I can see diagonal, and I can see right to left. And my eyes will graze to the yard, yes. I will look there.
You were saying you have a specific memory of looking at the Albert front yard all the way to the door. Do you have a specific memory of looking at the other neighbors' yards to their door?
I'm going to allow that.
Can you repeat that, please? I'm sorry.
Yes, you said that you looked at the Albert house all the way to the door.
Correct.
Do you have a memory of looking at any other houses all the way to the door?
Yes.
Okay. Which house had a dumpster in front of it?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to a dumpster. Dumpster wouldn't be in the front yard.
A civilian to say, hey, let me go and talk to this tow truck this snowplow operator, and he did it. So I say kudos to that, and I say, how despicable is it that the lead investigator from the Massachusetts State Police, nobody from the Canton Police Department, nobody from BPD. Now, they weren't investigating at BPD, but it was one of their own. No detective said, hey, let's go and interview these people. No.
this was MSP's job, and they didn't do it. The feds, FBI, actually interviewed them before MSP did, okay? Mm-hmm. And what did we learn today in the testimony? That there was a contracted plow driver that was out there working in tandem with Lucky. And Lucky told that to the private investigator for the defense team. And did Michael Proctor or MSP or anybody at MSP or the prosecutor's office go find that other contracted snowplow driver and interview them?
Negative. Not. Right. They're all negligent. This is a travesty of justice, in my opinion. They never pulled any video. They never went to do video canvasses on Fairview. They never went to door to interview neighbors on each side of 34 Fairview. Behind the chief of detectives lived straight across the street. He had his own video surveillance, but according to his little bitch boy, Lieutenant Leaf Blower, Lieutenant Leaf, hold on, wait a minute, what do we got here?
Lieutenant Leaf Blower.
Lieutenant Leaf Blower stated that I know that the commander of the detective squad, the commanding officer of the detective squad, his cameras don't shoot out to the street. So we just decided not to look at it. We decided not to go into 34 Fairview and interview everybody inside there. We decided not to secure 34 Fairview and search it for any evidence of who could have possibly killed police officer John O'Keefe. That's part of investigation 101. You eliminate potential sources, potential perpetrators. Was there anybody hiding in that house that potentially killed him? No, they didn't do that. So it just falls in line with all the missteps intentionally. And there's the solo cups. Ed's pulling out all the stops.